So, I think what comes along with this is, everyone's looking for that hack, that thing, whether it's paid search ads or SEO that like is going to drive their business to the next level. But I don't necessarily like to see these businesses that are super hyper focused around like one narrow niche. And there's this concept that I constantly think about called concentration risk, which is like, if you're getting all of your clients from the same channel, then you're going to want to spread that out. So what would happen if that channel went away? So if you were exclusively dependent on SMSing and then SMSing went away overnight, like, would your business continue?
Because the management and transparency is what's very important. So once you submit a referral, you're going to have your own Home Advantage account, and it's going to tell you where everything sits. So if you have 10 referrals that you've sent into the network, it's going to give you all 10 referrals. It's going to tell you every milestone that client is sitting in, whether they're touring homes, whether they're in escrow. And you now can manage through the Home Advantage application as far as what your pipeline looks like for the referrals that you've sent. And so it's pretty sophisticated, and it's all click of a button, guys.
What's up, bro?
Hey, all right. You can see me. I was getting messages. Unable to start video.
We can see you. You're
right.
safe. We got you. All right.
Is
And
this
can
real
everyone see him?
geeks?
Wait, can anybody see him? Just making sure everyone can see Chris. Right?
I don't know if you want to see me.
Everyone
Actually,
can
it'd
see
be
Chris.
better. Like, you just keep looking at Tristan.
Yeah, we can see you. See, we got some messages. So we're safe, dude. We're definitely safe. All right. For those of you who are wondering who this is, well, he's our friend. What's up, man? It's been a while. Are you guys gonna be at the Follow Up Boss event?
Yeah, we are actually. Like, it was good seeing Ricardo, and I know from talking to him on the back end that guy is really hustling putting together that event, and it crushes. It is a absolutely stellar event.
He really is. And you guys have a booth too this year, because I know we saw each
That's
other.
right.
last year.
Yeah, that's actually how we met.
Right. I remember Auberry connected us. So
Yeah.
there you go. All right. Real Geeks with us. We've got an amazing human being, great person here. This is how we reconnected. This is why he's here right now. And he's going to be talking to us about what the hell is next, man. Look, when it comes to CRMs, full CRMs, marketing, texting,
Yeah.
all of this that gets really confusing, because we've heard from Chime, Follow Up Boss, Ylopo. It's like, well, what do we do? And I think that's not clear all the time. That's why I loved hearing from the people that we heard from. Barry just made it super clear. It's like, this is what we need to do. Here are the specifics, right? What does that look like to you as far as where we should start when it comes to the CRM? And then we'll shift over to your topic.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm working on, is it possible to share my screen?
Yeah, Jake, can we turn that one on for?
Sorry, I'm like doing the
Chris.
last minute troubleshooting. There we go.
Yeah, no problem, man. We got you.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Wait, he made
Done.
Jake make Ricardo co-host by accident. Hold on. That's funny. I like that.
All right, you might have to
There you go.
hit me. There we go. All right. Sorry,
You're there.
Tristan. Hit me with the question one more time.
No, when it comes to a CRM, what are we looking at to be able to get the right one? What are the tools we need in it? And then how should we be using it in the current world that we're in?
Yeah. Okay. So we're about to talk about that a lot, but the right one is the one that you're actually going to use, right? You can really overthink this, and you can go down rabbit holes of like really specific knowledge. And it's actually funny. I was doing a podcast on this morning. I mean, for this audience, obviously you got to get one that's focused on the real estate market, right? And like after that, then things start to get a little bit more comparable. And then I start to go into like, well, what integrates with everything better? So, we like, obviously Real Geeks is a website and a CRM put together. So you don't necessarily need to worry about that level of integration, but then also what does the integration look like back to the other tools? So one of the reasons a lot of people ask us like, well, why are you going to Follow Up Boss conference? Aren't you like competitors with them? Like, so many of our customers use us as the website solution, and then Follow Up Boss as the CRM. And so it's
Makes
kind of like whichever one you like better. And then you can just connect them up and build that like custom solution that's right for your business.
Mm. All right. Look, that answers it for now. I know your topic is the top 6 lessons we've learned from interviewing 100+ agents.
Yeah. Well, we'll go 7. How about that? We increased
7
it +1
go.
scope creep since we pitched the topic. Yeah. So hang on, click. All right. So I'm Chris Whitling. I'm the VP of marketing of Real Geeks. And also I get to host the Keeping It Real podcast, which is the podcast that Real Geeks has had running for like 10 years. The founder was like way ahead of his time and like started a podcast right when the company was founded. And so I'm currently carrying that torch. And it's given me the opportunity to go really deep, kind of like the way that you guys do on your podcast. And actually there's some overlap here between guests. And so this is going to be like a fun topic for us. But anyway, I've got 15 years of SaaS marketing experience and then 2 years at Real Geek. So I'm a little bit newer to real estate, but I've gone really deep on marketing topics. So Real Geeks, you guys know, realgeeks.com, also youtube.com/realgeeks. Okay. So we're going to get into it. Tip number 1, and this is kind of like meta tip here, right? So technology and regulations change fast, super fast, right? And so Barry was up here talking about AI, right? It's the current hotness. Before then, it was SMSing, before that, it might have been email. And also, you guys should chime in because I'm used to doing a podcast and making
dude, yeah, we'll chime in. We'll get
not just like talking.
I'm watching.
Anyway, so text, email, maybe push notifications, SEO, PPC, AI, it's all happening. It's all happening super fast. And I think one of the things I like to point out to people is like there's fundamentally like no hacks that are going to like take your business to that like multi-billion-dollar situation. Like you've got to start out being like good at your job, right? Like master the fundamentals. We're going to talk a little bit about some of my favorite people to talk to about that this community knows about. But then you also need to be able to adapt to that technology to the changing market and regulatory environment, right? And so this is all happening right now because starting last October, obviously interest rates have been spiking, as well as like a big change that's happening with SMSing, right? Or texting. So like what I like to see people do is adopt new technologies really early and learn to master them, like kind of when they're in the Wild West. But you also have to understand that there's a lot of bad actors coming out during that are like maybe abusing the technology, or they're sending SMSs to people they shouldn't be, or they're buying email lists. And that's going to cause regulators to get involved. So like one of the things we're dealing with as an industry right now, and Real Geeks is talking to its customers a lot about this. And I really like, if you're not hearing from whoever you use as an SMS provider, like if you haven't heard from them, you need to get on the phone with them, because on August 31st, the carriers are implementing this scary sounding thing called A2P 10DLC. But basically they're trying to fight spam. And they're forcing you as businesses to register. And so you gotta apply through the carriers, which is basically we'll get your like EIN, business name, and all that kind of stuff, and make sure that you get that application taken care of. But if you don't do that, then all of a sudden your messages are going to start appearing as undelivered. And I mean, that really takes the wind out of the sails, right? So it's just a little bit of like coverage that you got to do. And I'm bringing this up maybe as a public service announcement to like, not just us, but like, I know Chime was in here talking about like advanced technologies and Ylopo, their AI and our AI like operate sort of similarly, and SMS has just been such a powerful feature for real estate agents. So like, I want to make sure that you guys are on top of this and are able to like continue to use it. We did like a whole podcast with our head of product and one of our top agents, Todd Tremonte in Dallas. And we talked about like the evolving things that you need to do. So a lot of agents will be like, I don't want to put that stop language in there. That makes me sound like artificial or whatever. And it's like, the alternative is not being able to send the the message. So it's better to like stay ahead of the curve, and being part of that like early adopter also means figuring out how to integrate that language and the compliance, before everyone else, right?
Very
Some of
true.
your competitors are about to get whacked.
Quick question. Is
Yeah.
this for the United States only or also for Canada? Do you know?
I believe it's happening in Canada also, because we're registering Canadians as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And it's more of a carrier based thing than like a government regulation type situation. So, I think what comes along with this is, everyone's looking for that hack, that thing, whether it's paid search ads or SEO that like is going to drive their business to the next level. But I don't necessarily like to see these businesses that are super hyper focused around like one narrow niche. And there's this concept that I constantly think about called concentration risk, which is like, if you're getting all of your clients from the same channel, then you're going to want to spread that out. So what would happen if that channel went away? So if you were exclusively dependent on SMSing and then SMSing went away overnight, like, would your business continue? Right. So like someone, yeah, exactly. I see Nick nodding over there. Yeah.
I'd be sad, bro.
Oh no, I wasn't saying that it would suffer. I was just saying, yeah, that's a good point.
No, that's the way I took it. Exactly. So, you just have to know, like, you have to expect change, right? And then adapt. There's a bonus tip that I wanted to throw out here. And as I was like putting these slides together, I had been listening before that. I'd been listening to a podcast that was had Mark Andreessen on it. And so Mark Andreessen's the guy that invented Netflix, and he's like huge deal in the Silicon Valley world. And he suggested this book called Men, Machines, and Modern Times. And I went and read it, and it had really interesting perspective on what invention is, right? And I think a lot of us think about like, tech founders like, Dan and Kevin, Dan who founded, Follow Up Boss, or Kevin who founded Real Geeks, Mark Zuckerberg or Elon, and like, what are these guys doing? And it's like, oh man, they must have invented something from scratch. And this book points out that invention is not wholly unique ideas. It's just unique arrangements of those ideas to solve a problem in a new way. So, I like to point this out to people, because you don't need to be like coming up with the fully original idea, that is going to help you take over the market. You need to be like engaging in summits like this, the LabCoatAgents, virtual summit, or going to Follow Up Boss conference, or, whatever it is, reading and inputting those new ideas and then like applying them to your business. And that's really what invention is. That's what's going to drive things forward. That's that, forward push of technology.
I like that, dude. I just put that book into my cart.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of weird, because I describe it to people. I'm like, why would you want to read about like the how aiming naval guns was invented? And it's like, it's actually totally relevant to technology businesses, and even I think real estate businesses.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like this, man. Thank you for sharing that part.
Cool. All right. Tip 2. You guys know this guy, right? Dale Archdeacon.
Yep. He's a buddy.
Been around. He's also pretty big in the Real Geeks world, long time Real Geeks user, his wife as well. We had him on our podcast, and one of the big takeaways was like, always be role playing. And Dale didn't say this, someone else did, that I was talking to recently, and they were saying like, real estate is a sales profession, frequently not populated by sales professionals. And I was actually also at KW Mega Camp last night, talking to people, and I always find this true. Like when I go to networking events, it's like, hey, what'd you do before you were a real estate agent? And I think I've talked to, in all the networking in the last 2 years, all the networking events I've been to, I've talked to one person that's like, oh yeah, no, I graduated high school and went directly into real estate. Like everyone else had something else first. So it's like, you shouldn't necessarily expect that you're going to come in with all the skills that you need, and your license exam is basically just going to teach you how to not get sued. So, you need to learn those ropes. And so guys like Dale are great resources to like really learn how to master sales, right? Because presumably you didn't learn that as, an IT consultant or, whatever it was before. So find those coaches, partners, and practice often. I love how Dale says, like, do 30 minutes of role play, before you jump on your call block, to shake off the cobwebs. Heard some people like maybe using AI to, practice a little bit, all sorts of like novel stuff. But, it's like the verbal jujitsu that you just need to practice over and over and over again so that like it becomes muscle memory and you're able to execute when those, when the common objections come up. So, yeah. All right. So this was another thing that Dale talked about, and it was basically use data to grade yourself honestly. So I like to obviously use your CRM, whether it's Real Geeks or Follow Up Boss, and track like, either in notes, or through statuses and stuff like that, and really track like, okay, what was the game plan that I was using, and did it work? Because as Dale points out, you end up in this thing called like resulting, where you either like follow the last success, or your mind, like the human mind doesn't deal with probabilities very well. And so it'll think something like, well, I'm due for a good one, so maybe I should start changing my tactics because it's going to get increasingly likely. And that's not the case. Like each one has like the same probability of being the same. So it's like, stick to your best practices, stick to the things that you've been practicing, and then use that data to, after the fact, assess whether or not it's been working. Right.
That's a good point. I think we easily forget that if we stick to the things that we're already amazing at, and we try to find where those fit in the industry we're in, we'll probably do a lot better, rather than just copying what we see other people succeeding with, man. That I think is a key point.
Yeah, let's come back to that here in a couple. Well, actually, how about right now? So Susie Ellis, she's like one of my favorite Real Geeks customers. She has moved her business like 4 times, and each time she like takes over the market. So she started in the Northeast and then moved to Alaska, and like then from Alaska moved to Florida, and now she's in the Lake of the Ozarks. And talking to her is such a counterpoint from a lot of agents that you hear like, oh, I can't move, like that would be death, like I can't do that. And she's like, no, like my fundamental skills is like my ability to learn, and like my ability to execute on like all of these things that I've accumulated during the course of my career. So she's able to move from market to market to market and just like start dominating in those markets because she is like a lifelong learner that's continually adding tactics to her toolbox. And yeah, she continually uses her sphere, even selling, as clients moving around the country. So I really enjoy talking to her, and it is absolutely amazing to see like, oh, so in Alaska, what tactic do you use? Okay. So, and then in Florida, what were you doing? And so she was like, what most people would consider late in her career, and she's learning a cold call. And then she got to Lake of the Ozarks and started doing like Google leads, just like constantly trying new stuff, pushing things in new directions, leveraging the technology. It's really cool to see.
I like that, man. I like that a lot. And you said she's doing Google PPC in her new area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is a very fast.
Yeah. Here's another tip from her is she has a very generic domain name. So it's like my area, homes for sale, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so consequently, like she ranks pretty well. We're going to talk about SEO here in a second. She ranks pretty well. And, other agents, like actually, this is like one of her favorite stories. Other agents will like send people to her site because the search works really well. And it's because it doesn't say her name, right? So it seems like kind of non-threatening, and so she's being a good, good citizen of the community and not like targeting those people, because she knows that they're working with another agent, but there's still lines in her CRM. And so like, if they don't go anywhere, over a certain period of time, like that's a conversation you could conceivably have. So yeah, interesting technology.
I love that, man. I was actually looking at her site right now, and I'm on it. Susan Ellis.
That's
And
right.
I see the search all Lake of the Ozark listings. It's Lake of the Ozarks homesforsale.com.
.com.
I like that, dude. Now
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to interview her. I had no idea that I'm gonna interview her.
we definitely got to get her on. She's a lot of fun. And so, I mean, like, why is she so successful, right? So she's driven, and here's the other cool thing, is she's like, I'm going to make $1 million this year, like take home after taxes. And then she's like, you know how I'm going to do it? And she has like a stick-it note. She'll like pick up off her monitor. And she's like, I'm going to make this many calls per day. I'm going to like make this many bookings. I'm going to make this, and so it's like, there's no ambiguity on like how she's going to get there. It is like, this is the plan and I execute every single day, and it is like, it's like, oh, man, you're a scary lady.
She's committed, man.
She's committed. Yeah.
Look,
exactly.
obsession only looks crazy to the people not obsessed.
That's right. And then she pairs that with, she hasn't ever stopped learning. Right. So, she's mastering new channels. Like she's not afraid to move, and she's constantly adding to her, repertoire of tactics.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. What's next on your list, buddy?
All right. So, here's something I wanted to point out, it's like tip 3 really any different from tip 1. It's like, can you constantly adapt to a changing environment? Like, are you paying attention to what's going on? And staying ahead of the curve. So, at this point, I just wanted to point that out. And we gotta get moving here because we're running short on time. All right.
Number 4.
Step 4, engage with social media authentically. So we did this podcast with Teresa Bastian, which you've had on Lab Coats, and she's like, I hate social media. But basically her tip boils down to this. Like she engages with community pages, and she like is constantly like helping people find answers to things they're looking for. And she targets like a hyper local area. Like, this is my school district. This is my like neighborhood. And she owns that area. So, you don't need to be like showing off your lifestyle or being a narcissist on social media. People don't really like that, and one of the other common things that we hear from agents a lot is like, I'm not the main character in my buyer's story. Like, I'm not the person on Selling Sunset. Like this is about them. Right. And so I think your social media should reflect that, like deliver value, like tell them about stuff they want to know about.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that approach.
Yeah. Okay.
Bonus tip.
Yeah. Audio is way more important than video. So if you're doing this, like, get your audio situated. Video is frequently a problem with your lighting, not necessarily a problem with your camera. So there you go.
Really?
That's
so
right.
Audio is way more important than your video.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Give us an example of that. Are you talking about delivering value through social media, through email, through texting? What is this?
So anytime you're doing video, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you're doing, so it's YouTube or there's probably some, I put a note in here, like Gen Z is kind of bucking the trend because they're like preferring to watch subtitles. It's like a major reversal in the data. But like YouTube has provided me with a ton of research on this. And basically they will see like massive drop-offs if the audio is terrible. But if the video is like potato grade, people watch more if the audio is good. Right. And it's probably a byproduct of people putting things in the background and like listening and not watching. So just think about that as you're putting video messages, stuff like that. Like, can the person actually clearly hear you?
I like that, man. Good point.
Yeah. So SEO is possible, but it requires effort. So, this is one that we like to talk about a lot at Real Geeks. We have customers that absolutely crush it with SEO, and we're always shocked when, we have competitors that are like, oh no, it's not really possible. It's like, it's too, whatever, technology doesn't support it. It's like, well, not at Real Geeks. So I was going to basically talk you through why at Real Geeks, like we do so well at SEO. And the big reasons are like total content control over what's on your site. We have like a really well optimized CMS, content management system. So the code comes out very clean. It's like purpose built for it. We also have best in class IDX feeds. So we self-host our IDX and we like unify all that data. And so the listings come back extremely fast. We're not like bouncing off the MLS. That also actually makes your new listing updates come through really fast. You can build unlimited pages on your site. All the user interactions are sent to your CRM, whether that's us or you're connecting it up over to Follow Up Boss. And every page, like we have this culture of conversion. So like if we're going to push out a change to our customer sites, we've already tested that in the back end, and we know that it's either going to be neutral or improve conversion before we push it out to everyone. That's a huge, huge, huge deal for us.
Dude, I'm excited to see this because I just started my Google PPC with you guys literally last week.
Nice.
So I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those clean coded pages and the way that we do like lead capture on the listing pages, contribute to like obviously great SEO, but also like really good CPLs because the conversion rate is great. So.
And Gus, Gus Munoz, Power ISA, he's next. He said, you can confirm the only clients I have killing it with SEO are on Real Geeks. That's funny.
Yeah.
Like
we're running out of time, so I'm gonna
dude, let's go. Speed.
Let's go. Okay, so it's a long game. You gotta identify what clients are looking for, and you got to build pages. So think about what the customer is gonna do, and or gonna type into Google, and then build content for that. Like monitor those pages, time block. Like Erin always talks about time blocking for SEO, and she calls it SEO happy hour. She has like a drink and writes content. I'm gonna tip my hand here a little bit. Like it's not really a product announcement, but I mean something you might want to get on a newsletter for. Like, we might have a product that's going to help you knock years off to your SEO build out, and might have a little bit of AI sprinkled in there. So, just a tip.
Can we make the announcement on LabCoat so we can do a whole webinar on that? That would be amazing.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's do that.
So we need a couple minutes for giveaway. And so, I'm going to cruise through pen and paper for open houses, and, technology doesn't necessarily matter. It's showing up and doing the work. So we interviewed Dan and Kevin. That podcast's out there. Dan from Keeping It Follow Up Boss, and it's cool to have two technology founders and have them both say the same thing. Because I asked them, like, when you look at your customers, what is driving success? And they're like, activity. Like if they're waking up in the morning, they're making calls, and they're like, driving new leads into their stuff, we know they're going to be successful, and we're not worried about them. But like when things start to get quiet, and the calls aren't getting made, then we start to get worried. So there you
makes
go.
sense. All right.
Yeah.
I like this. And can you do us a favor? Send this over to our team, because we want to share the slides with everyone once the edits are ready for the virtual event. And I want to showcase something that's so we're going to give 3 of these away. Nick, these are cool. Dude, I want one of these, Chris. This is cool. They're Yeti. This is Yeti. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Austin, so I don't think I have a choice. It has to be Yeti. But hey, I know a guy that can make that happen, Tristan. So
Well, let's give 3 of these away. Nick, what questions should we ask? Or Gus, since he jumped in early, Power ISA. Maybe you guys can come up with a question, and then we can randomly pick. Always be role playing. Somebody already answered it. Cindy, I love that you already answered it. Sandra, Cindy's a winner.
I got a question. What's more important than technology?
What's more
in terms of success?
Technology.
Literally just mentioned showing up and doing the work. Stephen Earhart.
That's right.
Got that right.
That's right.
All right, Sandra, choose the ones that got right, and then make sure we're not going for first. We're going for random, so nobody gets upset because we're not looking at Facebook either.
Let's give one to Jan Sherbert Tanzer. Audio is more important than video.
Ooh, I like that one.
Ooh,
they're good.
Jan,
all right,
Jan Sherbert, right? Okay.
Chris, send us over your slides. Let's also do a webinar on the new SEO product you guys have, because I'd like to learn more about it. Now that we just launched our Google PPC just a few days ago. I'm excited to see how this all develops, bro.
Sounds great.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Thanks for doing this too.